yes, it's Wednesday again, so it's time for some Mr. Nelson's Wednesday Comics. And quite a stack this time around, and a few I left out for maybe I'll do something about it later. But anyway, Action Comics and, of course, Bizarro learned magic in the previous issue and cast a spell on Superman's world because he loves Superman very much. See? He loves him so much, he's wishing him to live. Of course, in Bizarro's mind, he hates Superman, and he wants him to die. Yeah. So anyway, this becomes kind of a zombie outbreak issue of Action Comics. And Superman is struggling with resisting the spell as well, despite his vulnerability to magic. But of course, he's Superman, so his willpower has to try to maintain himself. Not easily. He's losing it at the outset, but he manages to regain control and tries to contain this, outbreak. Actually, the Justice League gets in on it, trying to help keep it from spreading, because apparently the Bizarro Metropolis citizens, if they get out of the city, they will spread it elsewhere. And there's Batman trying to help out with that. They contact the magic people to try to figure out how to undo it. Dr. Fate being their main guy, but Fate's been turned. So it's Bizarro Fate. Yeah. So that would be interesting if Zatanna turned. All her spells would be correct, because she cast them all backwards. Anyway, so that's the deal. Lois turns, everybody turns, and Superman goes through this terrible struggle. It goes on and on and on. It spreads all across the world. He hasn't had time to shave with his heat vision, so he's really down in the dumps. And he has to turn to what is now the most sanest man on the planet in order to restore sanity to the world. And can you guess who that could be? And no, the umbrella is not a clue. It's just a rational thing to have a umbrella in the rain. Yeah. So I'll save that. It's kind of obvious, actually. But nevertheless, Superman will have to team up with an unlikely ally. But when the world's upside down and all that sort of stuff, it's not all that unexpected. So there you go. So far, so good. It's not bad. But it's a magic spell. The world is just devastated by this. So my guess is once the spell is undone, it'll be as if it never happened. Yeah. But, you get cool scenes and stuff. Not doing as well. Story-wise, it's fine. Batman and Robin is probably the best Batman book available at the moment. The rest is not so great. Detective Comics is a bore fest, and Chip Zdarsky long time ago dropped the ball with Batman. And the Joker year one, I have no interest in. It just sounds, he's just going to muck that all up and ruin it. So never mind. Meanwhile, this one is okay. It's this father and son story, of course, and Damian getting to know high school. At first, he doesn't want it, but in this issue, he's probably going to want to stick around. The only problem is the artist who was working on it initially, and it's good art, and it's this manga influenced style. But apparently, I don't know, he's too busy and can't do the whole comic anymore, so it's just covers. So his replacement is, not on par. This is probably the best illustration out of the issue of Mr. Zaz here. But it's a cool story. It's not bad. It's pretty good in that sense, but the art has really fallen off. I'm sorry, Nicola. I can't pronounce your last name. Sorry again. But just not my cup of tea, and quite a drop-off from the initial artist, who I guess just can't turn the pages in on time. It might be one of those situations, but it's unfortunate because it really drags what is ostensibly a pretty good story. And, of course, compared to the other titles, is the best Batman book coming out today. So, meanwhile, Green Lantern continues to be pretty good title. It's slow going into where they're going. Of course, Hal Jordan needs to get off the Earth to deal with problems that keep running into him, and he's trapped on the Earth. And gee, why is that? And what is it about his mysterious new ring? Well, that's obviously the mystery. And as it continues, we'll learn more about that and what that's all about. I'm beginning to suspect they're going to borrow from the idea of the Earth 2 Green Lantern from New 52. Now, that would be the first time they introduced a gay Alan Scott, which is all anyone remembers about it. But the idea was that he was an avatar of the Green, which was a concept out of Swamp Thing, which would mean in the DC universe proper, Swamp Thing is the avatar of the Green. So now the Green might be the power source behind Hal Jordan's new power ring and all that. So it's just as it's fitting, as he is now quarantined on the Earth with no power ring or battery or anything, that he's able to form a new ring out of Green Lantern energy that was in the Manhunter armor that he did. But the power source ultimately is probably, yes, the Green. That's my guess. Could be completely wrong. But anyway, he once again, other outsiders saying, hey, we need your help. There's all kind of terrible things happening out in the galaxy and whatnot. And the United Planets, obviously very corrupt, if not outright evil, are not good stewards of the Green Lantern Corps. So some of their new Green Lanterns show up. And interestingly enough, they have the ability to switch between being Green Lanterns to Yellow Lanterns to Blue Lanterns and all that type of stuff. And they're like, holy crap, that's something new. So, but at the same time, they're all very green. The same thing in War Journal with the one who ended up becoming I guess a Black Lantern, mad at John Stewart. Well, it's just John Stewart was way more experienced than he was. So of course he whooped his butt, but he it bothers him. But, you're a freshman Lantern, so you have to expect that. So basically, I don't know, the Lantern Zoo showed up chasing after this Blue Lantern who was looking for help. And, things happened. You'll have to check it out. Meanwhile, Kyle Rayner revisiting his story and what's he been up to. And here, once again, all of the Lanterns, and this includes John Stewart as well in his own story, are using their Green Lantern powers to recreate things that are gone, most notably Kyle Rayner's girlfriend and all that. And it's all very sad. They're having conversations with ghosts that they themselves created, and so this repeats. It's been a running theme between the two books for these Lanterns who are either stranded on Earth like Hal Jordan and John Stewart. And then, of course, here's Kyle Rayner, who is in outer space, but he can't go home, But the same thing. They're all comforting themselves with the ghosts of their past, and it's all rather sad. Yeah. But it's getting a bit repetitive, but I understand that it's sort of the echoes between them, and it fits within the themes and all that, where they are. But it's time to move on and get to the action, and hopefully they will, because, yes, there's a problem. So the Green Token shows up. This girl. And I mean, really, there's too many Green Lanterns from Earth. Done, obviously, only for current era identity politics and whatnot. I thought originally, wasn't she supposed to be from the future or something like that? And maybe she still is, and that's just she's in the past now, that kind of thing. That would have worked better, actually. But, well, whatever. So anyway, she comes to take him out of his blues, and they got to go deal with a mission. Oh, boy. What's going to happen? The truth behind the United Planets. And then they'll find out, how crooked they are, which they by now already know. Next month, Jessica Cruz. Yeah, we're going to see who she's missing in her fantasy life. So anyway, Wesley Dodds Sandman is, of course, continuing to be the best of the spinoffs of Justice Society of America. And I mean, between this one and The Flash, they're both way better than Justice Society of America. And very simple stories, really. Here he's tormented by the weapons he's created being utilized in the wrong hands for evil and warmongers and stuff like that. Have heard people do not like the art. I'm of the opinion that it works very well. I do like it. I think it gets a bad rap because the initial introduction for a lot of people was the Tim Drake Robin series that this artist was put on, Riley Rossmo. And, well, people just don't like what they've done with Tim Drake overall. And the way it was handled in that, it didn't fit at all. Here, somehow, again, and I keep saying the same thing over and over again, but it's pretty much the deal. It just seems to work for it and its era, and the it's a sad and haunted story, but at the same time, kind of an oddball one. And so, I don't know. It just works for me, but that's one of those things of the subjectivity of it all. So, this is leading him to the military of people who are part of the people who wanted to steal his chemical knowledge and use it for war. And he's very anti-war. And it's fitting for the era because someone like him would, if not actual first account memory, would be aware of the horrors of World War I and desperately trying to avoid that again, which of course we know everyone failed at that. But it's fitting to compound his motives and what haunts him and all of that. So, yeah, Wesley Dodds Sandman is a recommend. It's pretty good. Meanwhile, over at Marvel, their big hit continues to be Ultimate Spider-Man. And in this issue, something actually happens. Spider-Man-wise, it's still very slow going. But it's interesting, but it's got to up the ante pretty quick here, I would think. But the art is absolutely astounding. It's really, really good. So you do get some Spider-Man action. He's trying out the suit, which is just completely black. And there's telltale clues in here and how he will change it to the classic look as you go forward. And it's all rather cute and sweet. There's cute and sweet in the story with his family. There's Mary Jane checking Peter out because he's starting to bulk up and stuff. And she's like, hey, you been working out? That's pretty good. The Shocker shows up, so there is superhero action and battle, but the main point of it is Peter is not the Spider-Man he would be had his origin not been interfered with by the Maker, the evil Reed Richards. And so now he's a 30-year-old man who's never done this before, so he sucks at it. So the Shocker gets the best of him twice in this issue and all of that. But, it stands to reason. But you do get, some pretty spectacular action scenes for him. The costume acts like the symbiote costume, but my guess is this is Stark technology rather than a living thing. Or maybe not. Maybe they'll go that way too later on. I don't know. But that's the deal. There's a very cute scene with him and his daughter as she stumbles in on him, and he was, I guess, his spider sense. He doesn't quite understand it yet, or whatever, or she's just not perceived as a danger because it's his daughter, and she's scared of him, and he has to assure. It's a sweet scene, but you can see there, that's how it works. It's kind of like the symbiote, but I guess it's all Stark nanobot technology. Yes. So finally, the Green Goblin makes an appearance in his Iron Man suit. But that's how they're going with it. I wish it was more akin to the Green Goblin look, but this looks more like a movie version, and it's still a step above from the Ultimate's original take on Green Goblin of turning into a literal monster. I wasn't too crazy about that. But the mystery about, is this Norman Osborn? Is it Harry Osborn? Or is it someone else? Is it Ned Leeds? Is it Flash Thompson? Is it J. Jonah Jameson? Or could it be Uncle Ben? Yeah. So that's also a classic nod to the Green Goblin story, in that there was a bit of a mystery as to who he really was, because they took the pains to show him take off his mask in his secret hideout, but kept him in shadow for a while until, they revealed that, yes, it's Norman Osborn. But this time, well, everything's different. So it's cool. It's only 2 issues, and so I'll take that into account. But even with the Ultimate Universe and the reset, a bit of it was just, there's this, and it does that, and this is this now. And you don't really get into an adventure narrative or story. It's just sort of pamphlets explaining, well, this is what the Ultimate Universe is like. Well, you need to up the ante, and it's a bit slow going. But this one did, some action in it, even though it was all at Peter's expense. But nevertheless, we'll see how it goes. But so far, it's interesting, but the ball really needs to start rolling. Moon Knight, once the only good superhero comic that Marvel was publishing until the Hulk came along. They decided to make a big change and kill off Moon Knight. And now this mysterious new Moon Knight shows up, but no one knows who he is. Could he be Mark resurrected? Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But here he makes his big appearance. He wants to kick the whole team out of the Midnight Mission. And that's fine and everything, and that it's mysterious and they don't know who he is. Some of them are wondering if he could possibly be Mark Spector, but Tigra doesn't believe that. And this is another one where they keep going back to these therapy sessions for each of the cast members. And it's already way too old, and they need to move on. That is a narrative structure of telling each issue. It works for it, and the whole idea that Tigra doesn't believe it's Mark is because she goes on about all the past men in her life have all died and they don't come back and that sort of thing. So it's, poor Tigra, and all of that as why she doesn't believe it's him. So my guess is there'll be a guessing game of all of that, but the therapy sessions, time to move on. So I heard a recommend for this, checked it out. Never did read the original story, so it probably would help, but it's not bad. It's pretty good. It's just, and it's all out action. And it's funny how facsimiles of old issues do very well. I bought a couple of those as well. And then stories that are set in a bygone era that was so much better. Boy, they keep doing that, huh? Wonder why. So it's a cool team up of Black Widow, of course Psylocke there with Jubilee, Wolverine, and Captain America. And it's just a full cover to cover action story. And it's fun. It's good. So I'll check out the next one and we'll see how it goes. Finally, bottom of the barrel, the conclusion of Secret Wars Battle World, which was only tangentially Secret Wars related. They're not even on Battle World in it. I don't know where they are. The only thing revealed was that the mysterious manipulators behind the scenes are only interested in the symbiote. They were not testing Spider-Man. It made it sound like they were, but that's the big reveal. And they suddenly turned not just the villains, but the superheroes on him as well. And this causes Venom to rise and attack them all. But don't worry, their memories are wiped, of course, so none of them remember any of this happened. And apparently there's nods to the Venom comics. So I didn't read those, so I don't really get it. It was a colossal waste of time. It's just done to celebrate the anniversary of the original Secret Wars, and it just wasn't that good. The art is excellent. It's very classic looking and all that, but there was really no need to read it at all. Because and I mean it was obvious. It was sound and fury signifying nothing. Nobody will remember any of these events. And then, who were the mysterious people? You don't know. It doesn't tell you. So, hey, stay tuned for our next. Well, whatever it's supposed to lead to. I doubt that you would have needed to have read this to be caught up on it. So there you go. So finally, DC announces Absolute Power, along with DC Finest and updates elsewhere as a comics, blah, 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 blah. But Absolute Power is their next big event. Yes, another one. But this will be Mark Waid and Dan Mora doing it. Yeah. So I guess that's why they had to leave Shazam and World's Finest and all that for this big thing. And one wonders, does this lead to their reboot? Does it lead to DC's take on Ultimate Universe type thing, which was teased and rumored about? Perhaps. I don't know. But anyway, says, throughout the dawn of DC, Amanda Waller's combination of pure ruthlessness and dangerous alliances has placed her on the precipice of fulfilling her pledge. The elimination of all metahuman abilities planet-wide. This summer, her plans take a major step forward with Absolute Power, DC's big summer blockbuster. Well, that remains to be seen, doesn't it? Helmed by the critically acclaimed duo of Mark Waid and artist Dan Mora, this 4-issue series, well, it's only 4, that's not bad, launches July 2nd and shows how Waller, yes, Waller, again, she was the main villain of Beast World and probably other things, I don't know. Anyway, she'll use the strategic and military might of Failsafe, oh God, and the otherworldly technology of the Brainiac Queen, to steal all metahuman abilities from every superhero and supervillain. Well, there you go. See, there's some good in that. Around the globe, a threat so dire it will take the combined efforts of Batman. He doesn't have powers, so it won't affect him. Superman, powerless. Wonder Woman, powerless. And the superheroes of the DC universe to defeat it. Well, they won't be so super with no powers, but anyway. So there you go. They're like, hey, what's going on? And I guess that's what Failsafe looks like now. Yeah. Failsafe started out kind of cool and then just went into pure stupidity. God, that was awful. I guess that's Brainiac Queen. So Brainiac identifies. And there's Waller. Yeah. Fans can get an early jump on the excitement and intrigue of Absolute Power on Free Comic Book Day, May 4th. Oh boy, as DC revealed Dan Mora's cover for the 2024 Absolute Power Free Comic Book Day Special Edition. Available at participating comic book shops Saturday, May 4th. This 32 comic features an original 12-page story by Mark Waid with art by Michael Janin, a recap of the events that led to Absolute Power, and a sneak preview of Absolute Power #1. DC also revealed Mora's cover for Absolute Power Ground Zero, the official prelude. So the Free Comic Book Day one is not the official prelude, but it's a prelude, and it's free. But then you get Ground Zero, the official prelude, debuting in June. This one-shot comic book will bridge the shocking conclusion of the Superman story House of Brainiac with Amanda Waller's machinations and Absolute Power. Again, all helmed by Mark Waid, the event's architect. Well, So DC Finest will be these collection of classic stories. Well, some classic, some, well, older stories. Some more Elseworld stories. Okay. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, they're going to do all these collections and stuff from the Marvel and DC meeting. And so there's that. Anyway, what will be the consequences of absolute power? Is this the beginning of the reboot? Well, perhaps. It doesn't say that, but perhaps. Yes, another one. But it is. Mark Waid's done good work with World's Finest, somewhat good work in Shazam and Titans. Well, it's all right, I guess. His other event thing was the Lazarus Planet. No. And I'm so event fatigued out. Beast World was fun, so I'll give him that. So I'll give a shot to this, if nothing else, for Dan Mora's art. The problem with Mark Waid is that he's a complete a-hole, and he just can't shut up about his own personal bigotries, and it turns people away. So I don't know. This might be really good, but a lot of people will not show up for that reason. But there is Dan Mora's art. There is that. And it's pretty good. So there you go. Absolute power in the future for DC. Will it absolutely reboot and fix it and everything will be great? Unlikely, but well, one